All right, thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you. So this is the satellite image of Tropical Storm Henri. As you can see, it is becoming more well organized. It does look kind of lopsided at the moment. However, there is healthy outflow, very healthy outflow. You can actually see that outflow. However, it's only healthy on the northwest, on the northeast, and on the southwest side. However, there is some shear coming in from the northeast. You can see very strong shear here. So there's good outflow. It does look kind of lopsided. However, you do want to see this kind of shear. You want to see outflow. And we're definitely seeing some outflow. So the system is very well protected on its eastern side. However, on the western side, it does look kind of lopsided. However, the center of circulation is somewhere embedded in this area of convection. But you can see that the storms are starting to wrap around. They're trying to wrap around. So it's likely a strong tropical storm right now, 70-mile-an-hour winds. The center of circulation is most likely towards this area of convection. See here you're having southwest winds. I would say the center is somewhere in this area here. Probably not exactly correlated with the strongest convection. I'm going to guess it's somewhere in, I would say over here maybe. That's where I think the center is. The problem is I don't know where the center is because they're not doing any flights into the system. Let's go to tropical tidbits, yeah. Still, nothing for Henri. Everything is for Grace. Yeah, Grace is intensifying now, 980 millibars. I'll say strong Cat 1 landfall for Grace. This is looking at the UK map. See, showing a Cat 1. Wow, that's a major hurricane. That's Category 3. Whoa. That is Sunday afternoon. That's Sunday morning. Let's go to regions. Let's go to regions. Regional. Let's go to Northeast US. Whoa, that is a Category 3. I don't know what category that is, but that is a major hurricane barreling right into the Cape. Like that is like 70, like 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds. You're gonna have very strong winds coming right into the Cape. God damn, that's gonna be a monster. When that happens, Jesus. And then look at that, right into New England, basically. Yeah, and then heading out. Yeah, that is going to be a landfall, I would say. Yeah, you see those yellows? That is, yeah. And these are sustained winds. That is, yeah, hurricane force winds. That's a hurricane. But that's only one model. And let's go last night's run. Yeah. It ain't looking good. I'm just telling you that right now. It ain't looking good. Yeah. Yep. They're probably going to have at least, looking at this, 40-mile-an-hour winds in Boston. Very heavy rain. Yeah, look at all that rainfall. 6 inches of rain. Wow. Yeah, that is just crazy. And I'm heading there to track the storm. Surprised no one's watching this. Yeah, this is going to become a hurricane. Why the hell is no one watching this? time. Go to Discord. Okay, I'm back in the stream now. So now let's look at the tropics, the satellite imagery. Yeah, this is not what I want to see. I want to look at, okay. What I want to look at is visible in shortwave, so I can look at some of the there's some northwest winds here, okay. So very healthy outflow here. You can see that here, right? You see this here, right? The healthy outflow. You want to make sure this outflows on all sides. However, you see this opening here? Right here, you can almost see the low level circulation right there. Hold on. See, north winds here. The winds are from the north here. So the center isn't here. I would say it's somewhere in this area here. But it's... I'm going to zoom it a little bit in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. You're having north winds here. So the center is definitely set. Okay. See the strong north winds here? I would say the center is somewhere over here, right where my mouse is. That's where I would think the center is. Maybe even over here. The center would be somewhere in this area here. So towards the southern area of convection. But it is starting to become better organized. Definitely. So now that we know where the center of circulation is, if we see thunderstorms wrapping around the entire center, that's basically a go-ahead for the system to intensify. Like, okay, see, you had this big area of convection all on one side. Then you had convection filling into the south. And now you're trying to get some here. So you're trying to get the system better organized, but you're having a basically 1/4 of the storm that isn't closed in. But the thing is, most of your shear is actually going this way. Basically the same direction as a storm. So you have healthy outflow here. So you're having a healthy outflow, which is starting to envelop the storm. The storm is starting to become enveloped from its outflows, which is basically going to moisten up the system. And there is still active convection, especially here. And once this system fully envelops, water temperatures here are very warm. It's under 30 degrees north. Keep in mind the system formed here and it dove southwestward and then is now going westward. Keep in mind water temperatures here are in the mid-80s. Very warm. Definitely warm enough to support a major hurricane. Not only a hurricane, but a major hurricane at that. And the thing is, it will continue to go further west, right towards the Gulf Stream. And as that happens, the storm will get stronger. and also you're going to have this upper level system that's going to interact with the storm. And while you're going to have shear coming in from the south, the storm will also be going north, so you won't have that much directional shear. Shear basically is winds turning with height, different wind directions and speeds. So if you're having very strong trade winds, and yet the winds aloft are calm, that is also shear, because your system is being sheared by the differential in motion. If you're going 30 miles an hour and yet the winds are above your calm, you're going to get 30 mile an hour winds. But if you're going 30 miles an hour, the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour in the same direction that you're going, you're going to not feel anything. You're going to be as if there's no wind at all, aka calm conditions. Shear can, if you have a calm environment and you're going 30 miles an hour westward, that is shear. You have to calculate for the speed of the direction of the system as well as the winds aloft. So just because you're saying, oh, you know, there's no wind aloft, doesn't mean you're not having shear. You also have to calculate for the motion of the storm on the surface and use the differential between the surface winds and the winds aloft. You know, usually shear is winds that are turning with height and speed. But also, if you're having zero surface winds, very calm surface winds, but very fast winds aloft, that's shear, and that can also form tornadoes because of the extreme temperature differential. I mean, wind differential. So like you could have calm winds at the surface, strong south winds, you know, at maybe 2,000 feet, and then southwest winds aloft. And there you have shear. But you might be thinking, hey, but there's no wind at the surface. There's no shear. Well, you have to launch a balloon or, you know, be higher up to feel those winds. So that's how shear works. So is there shear? There is some, not a lot. The main reason it's lopsided is partly to do with shear, but it's also some dry air that is trying to work into the system. Let's look at the water vapor. Here's the driest air. The darkest colors are the dry air. There is some dry air, but it's not very dry. The atmosphere is pretty moist. See, this is your upper level low right here. Your surface low is somewhere over here. Your upper level low looks like it's, I would say, here. Let's see how all these high clouds are going this way. That will help insulate the system from more dry air, because this will actually moisten up the atmosphere ahead of the storm. Still no here's a storm going to the closer to the eye wall. See, winds are increasing. Let's change gears and look at Grace now. We're going to look at Grace. Hurricane Grace. Here's Grace, and you're having this big blow up of convection. I mean, landfall will only be in what 5 or 6 hours? I mean, I don't think Grace will intensify much more before landfall, maybe another 10, 20 mile an hour increase in winds. Probably will make landfall around 980 millibars. I'll say strong Cat 1. But then once she crosses into the Bay of Campeche, the water temperatures are warmer there than the Caribbean, so the intensification could be faster. And also, Grace is moving very fast. She's moving fast. So Grace is basically hauling ass. And because she's hauling ass, she is not going to spend much time over the Yucatan. And the Yucatan is not very mountainous. It's actually pretty flat. So storms that cross the Yucatan very often make it to the other side and maintain strong intensity. For example, Hurricane Wilma actually maintained hurricane intensity all the crossing Cozumel and the Yucatan, and maintained hurricane intensity, albeit Category 1 intensity, after leaving the Yucatan, and then she re-intensified into a Category 3 and made landfall in Florida just a few days later. So here's the thing. The land over the Yucatan is pretty flat. Once you get further south is where it gets mountainous. Let's look at just quickly look at Yucatan topography. A graphic map. And you will see how flat the land is basically. I mean, there is some elevation, there is some mountains, but most of your mountains are to the south, basically. And Grace will basically cross the plains area. All the mountains are to the south, so Grace will just basically go. And here's the outline of the crater from 65 million years ago. You can actually see the crater outline almost. Crater rim. And you can actually see the crater rim from the asteroid impact. Could even have been a comet, actually. Yep, see the Chicxulub crater, yep. Just going to go briefly off a tangent. Was the Okay, let's go back to what we're talking about. Now we're going to be talking about Grace now. So let's look at, so Grace is definitely a hurricane. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Okay, right here, you could almost see Grace trying to form an eye, and then boom. But the thing is, while it's organized, it is kind of still lopsided. Like, it is not, like, it's see, blow up of convection then weakens, and then another blow up of convection. It doesn't have sustained convection. Actually, in my opinion, while this system looks more broken up, it actually has more convection than Grace. Plus, you're having more thunderstorms building up here. So, and the models are trending much scarier now. Let's look at the GFS now. Yeah. What the heck? Wait. You're kidding me, right? You're kidding me. Oh, jeez. Oh, Lord. Yep, right in Long Island. Boom. Oh, yeah, Long Island impact? Are you freaking kidding me? Long Island? Oh god, yep. Looks like I have never seen this before, ever. Yeah, I have never seen this before. Right into Long Island. Basically pulling a Sandy. Looks like I may not go to Boston after all. I'm just like, okay, let's look at 10-meter winds. Okay, let's go 6 hours later. Oh, wow, that is a major hurricane. That is probably, at this point, a Category 3 storm. Here's the thing. Water temperatures in ahead of the storm are in the mid to upper 70s. I mean, while it's not very conducive for development, I don't think the storm is just going to weaken within a few hours of running into those temperatures. Because here's the thing. They're not in the 60s. They're in the mid to upper 70s. Like, let me go to the National Data Buoy Center right now. All right, this is looking at water temperatures off of the Carolinas, mid 80s. Let me go north, right? This is where you want to look at, off of eastern Long Island. Probably low 70s, right? Nope, mid 70s actually. Mid to upper 70s. I mean, and then you want to look a little further south. See, 76 degrees. So again, you're talking about water temperatures that are, while not not very warm, they are still pretty warm. So keep in mind, 77 degrees. So around Hudson Canyon, basically 75 nautical mile east of Long Beach, New Jersey. Water temperatures, again, in the mid to upper 70s. While it's marginal for hurricanes, it is supportive of a tropical system. Let's look off of New Jersey. 76, 77. I mean, this is more off of Delmarva, but there's a lot of data gaps. So this is basically where the Gulf Stream ends. It ends like here, right? Off of Massachusetts. Some fluctuations. Again, 77 degrees. Nantucket Sound, which is actually in the ocean. Again, 75, 76 degrees. Again, water temperatures are pretty darn warm. This is off of New Hampshire, almost in the upper 60s, which is, yeah, pretty normal. This is Massachusetts Bay. Water temperatures probably in the 70s. Again, in the 70s. I've never seen water temperatures this warm. Boston Harbor. Air temperatures. Well, that's actually in Boston itself. Chatham. Okay, yeah, 60s. Nantucket Sound. 75 degrees. Yeah. 70s, yeah. See? So you're talking about water temperatures in the mid-70s, right? Off of Cape May, New Jersey. So 78, 78, 78. So it's like marginally warm, basically. Like, it's almost warm enough, like almost. Off of Virginia Beach in the 80s. So here you're having water temperatures starting to become warm enough. Yep, going right into New England. Look at that. You see this low right here? You see this upper level disturbance here? This is what's going to pull Grace north. But this upper level disturbance will actually sink to the south. So this will cause Grace to go north, and then you'll have a high pressure system to the northeast, which will kind of force Grace to go northwestward into New England. And so anywhere from eastern Massachusetts to New Jersey needs to look out, especially Long Island. It looks like impact will be most likely Long Island now. And there's some storms approaching my area now. Oh my God, there's a tornado warning in eastern Pennsylvania. Okay, I'm looking at the velocity, nothing impressive. Okay. There's also a report of some pea-sized half-inch hail. Report as of 1:55 p.m. I'm not sure if that report is a fake or if it's real. Let me check. A lot of flooding rains coming in now behind this system. Yeah, this is where the tornado warning is being issued. So yeah, a lot of convection, very intense convection. These are severe thunderstorms. The remnants of Fred is basically here. This is still the remnants of Fred because the low pressure system associated with Fred is actually basically in upstate New York right now. It's right around Binghamton. This is where the center of circulation is. You could almost make out that swirl right there. This is the remnants of Fred. I'm actually going to show you something interesting. There's actually some pretty strong winds with this. There's some winds of about 30 to 40 miles an hour over Monrovia, New York. So there's some pretty gusty winds with this. The remnants of Fred is still producing some strong winds and heavy rain. See, Jeff, I'm going to just show you something, actually. Okay, I'm going to upload this to Facebook because I'm streaming on my computer, so I can't really use my phone to stream. Okay. So I'm going to show you the center of low pressure. The surface low, basically. Okay. So here's where your center of low pressure is, right around here. You could almost make it out here. This is where your center of low pressure is. Just northwest of Elmira, New York. But there's also some pretty strong winds with this as well. There we go. So let me show you what I'm talking about right here. See, those are winds of about 35 to 45 miles an hour. So there's still some tropical storm force winds. But however, it's aloft. It's a few thousand feet aloft. But there's still some 15 to 25 mile an hour winds with some gusts up to 30 near the surface. So like near Maine, New York, Ithaca. This is associated with basically the right front quadrant of the remnant low. So let's look right now at why, so let's look at the models, right? let's look at the 500, right? So that's your upper level low here, right? Here's Henri going west. And here's your upper level low, here's your high pressure system. Basically, Henri will not have any choice but to go right into New England, right? You basically will not have a choice. And you're going to have a hurricane, not a tropical disturbance, but a bona fide hurricane going right into New England. This is basically, look at this, like, look at these winds, 114 knots. This is basically a Category 3, maybe even a low-end Cat 4, or, yeah, strong Cat 3, basically, barreling northward. This is where the Gulf Stream ends, basically. So you could have a, like, you're only going to have less than 24 hours, basically. So you're going to have strong winds with this system. Very strong winds, actually. Very heavy rain. Let's look at Namnes now, right? Yep, look at that. Boom. Look at these winds. 120 knots? This is a Category 4. This is a Category 4 hurricane going north. This is not a Cat 1, not a Cat 2, not even a Cat 3. This is a Category 4. Jeez. 26 knots. Well, knots to miles an hour. 126 knots. Yeah, that's basically a low-end Cat 4. And let's look at satellite products. Simulated infrared satellite. Yeah. A hurricane with a perfect symmetrical eye. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy crap. Like, I'm just going to say this. Holy crap. Holy crap, guys. This is a major hurricane, basically going to be going northwards, barreling north. A major freaking hurricane, which has all these Gulf Stream waters up to here, and then marginally warm temps. I mean, I don't think it's going to make landfall as a major hurricane, probably Cat 1, maybe Cat 2. Wow, like, this is just wow. Like, oh boy. This is a doozy. I mean, this storm didn't form in the tropics. This is not a tropical origin low, like the Cape Verde. This is not a Cape Verde storm. This storm actually formed along a cold front. This tropical storm formed from a remnant low. Yeah. Look at this. Oh my god. Like, oh my god. Like, holy crap. A jog east for the 11 p.m. advisory takes Western Connecticut out of the cone simply. Yeah, guys, it's going to head into Massachusetts, there's no doubt. I'm going to be in the eye of this, like, I'm going to be in the worst impacted area. That's all I can say right now. Wrong map. Okay. Holy crap is all I'm going to say right now. Oh my god, this storm is going to blow up. Like, it's bad. What I'm seeing right now, it is really bad. I'm going to get my friend on the line right now because this is looking actually numb. Okay, yeah, Category freaking 4 storm. Actually, you know what? Forget this. Tropical tidbits. No, NAM 3KM. Lower dynamics. Category 5. Damn it! 923 millibars! Oh my god! No. Stop. Never ask for that. Where did that come from? Regions. Mid-Atlantic. Or Southeast US. Holy crap. Oh my god. Holy crap, guys. Here's Henri becoming more organized. This ain't looking good. It wasn't supposed to become a hurricane until the 5 a.m. advisory Friday, but may do so sooner. The latest GFS run is showing it going further west. Yep, look at this. Boom. Oh, yeah. See, right into New England, while the 18Z basically out to sea in week. Yeah, this is looking absolutely nuts. Yeah, this is looking absolutely nuts. This is the regular NAM, by the way. So let's look at the 500. You see this here? It's going to try to pivot it briefly west. Okay. Boom, right into the northeast. Look at this. Boom. Mean temperatures. Ooh, look at that. You see this? Right into New England. Yep. Guys, we are not looking good. This is not looking good at all. Let's look at let's look at ensemble temps. How many impact in northeast? Like direct impacts, landfalls. Look at this. Look at this one. Look at this one doing a freaking Sandy on us. Like, what the actual hell? Oh my god. Look at this. Doing a Sandy. Boom, right there, Sandy. Some of them basically stay right off the coast. Some of them take it into New England, like 1938. Some of them right north, like, wow, look at this, right into Long Island. Early Sunday morning, so, I mean, I even have to go to Boston. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you know what? I'm staying up. I'm going to go to bed around 2:30 because I want to see the European come in. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, guys, this is looking like shit scary, guys. This is looking freaking scary. Okay, right off the coast. So let's see how many impact, like, make landfall. We got one. No landfall. I'm actually going to say landfall. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, barely, like 6, 7, 8, 9. Actually, I want to count it from here. So I'm going to do row by row. Close, but no dice. So the first row has 1 impact. The second row has 2. So 2 impacts here. So 1, 2. 3. So right there, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8. Okay, actually, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I just want to do it again. Okay. So we have, oh, we actually have 1. Okay, that's 1. That's 1. Very close though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We already have 6. 7, 8, 9. So 9. Let's compare this to the noon run, which showed actually the scariest one, or up to now. So 1, 2, 3, but weak. 3, 4. Actually, no impact. It doesn't show landfall. So 4, 5, 6, 7. About 7 to 8. So actually, and 18Z. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it looks scary now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, I would say. Guys, this is looking bad. Yeah, and all of a sudden, look at this. Jesus Christ, this is looking like a freaking Sandy. Yeah, this is looking really bad right now. This is only one model. I'm waiting for the European model, which normally with tracks it's really accurate. Also, there's some thunderstorms approaching us, but this is the system we need to watch. I mean, the NAM now has a Category 4 hurricane, guys. Yeah, this isn't looking good. This is looking really bad. Northeast US. Let's look at national. I mean, guys, this is not looking good. This is looking really, really bad. Like, bad. 924. You never, ever want to see that. Ever. You never want to see a 924 barreling northward, especially with water temperatures being pretty warm off the coast. This is going to make landfall at least as a Category 1 or 2 storm. I mean, it's not moving 40, 50 miles an hour, so there will be some weakening before it hits. So you expect winds of between 60 and 80 miles an hour on Long Island, especially if it is going due north. I mean, New York City will probably get, I don't know, 40, 50 mile an hour winds if it goes directly north. I mean, here's what is likely to happen, in my opinion. I mean, it looks like right now Massachusetts is going to most likely get the brunt of the storm. Massachusetts, Eastern Long Island, Rhode Island. So this is going to be an Eastern New England type storm. Could even go northwest. I mean, there is a chance. Because here's the thing. Let's look at 500, right? So here's the upper level low, right? Now the negatively inverted trough here. Let me see it. And then you have a high pressure system that is over here, which will basically block the storm. And you see this right here? This will likely loop the storm briefly back to the west, wherever that might happen. Water temperatures here are in the 70s, not in the 80s, but you're still talking about a weakening storm, a weakening hurricane. See, you're having basically this wind field expanding as the system is starting to transition to an extratropical low. It's still a hurricane at this point, probably a Cat 1. Here you're talking about maybe Cat 2, Cat 3. That's what the models are showing, but it's moving very fast. In only 24 hours, it goes from here to here. I mean, there probably will be some weakening, but probably not a lot. So you're definitely going to have a strong Cat 1, maybe a minimal Cat 2 coming ashore along Eastern New England. I mean, this isn't anything they're not used to. We're used to this. You know, Gloria, Bob, you know, those kind of storms, Dawn in 1960. We've seen these kind of storms before. I mean, if you remember Hurricane Donna, she made landfall in Long Island as a Category 1 hurricane, but this is a Cape Verde storm. All of the hurricanes, Bob, Gloria, all of these storms originated in the tropics. They had connections to, you know, tropical waves coming off of Africa, like Bob, for example, came ashore as a Category 2 hurricane, basically at fault, right at Narragansett Bay, basically. Then you had the 1938 New England hurricane, which made landfall as a Category 3 storm. You know, similar track, but a little bit different. The thing is, all of these were Cape Verde storms, or tropical waves. Hurricane Bob was one of the meteorological history. From a frontal trough. Oh, actually, Bob is actually very similar to this storm. Why? Hurricane Bob originated from the remnants of a frontal trough to the southeast of Bermuda on August 12th. About August, right? So this is a storm that's similar to Bob, formed in a similar way. Did not originate in the tropics. I was actually wrong about Bob. So basically, well, this looks like it originated in the tropics. It actually did not. It originated from a frontal trough, basically, from a frontal system. So most of the storms are Cape Verde, like Hurricane Joaquin. Oops. An upper level low, accompanied by a surface trough. See? Category 4 almost became a 5, but this made Joaquin the strongest Atlantic hurricane of non-tropical origin recorded in the satellite era. Let's read this right. I mean, there's a chance. There is albeit a small chance, that this storm could actually break that record. If this becomes a 5, it will break Joaquin's record for strongest storm of non-tropical origins. Crooked Island, back here. And the strongest tropical of non-tropical origin, right? Which is rare for a major hurricane. Joaquin's formation is notable in that the tropical cyclone did not have tropical origins, which is rare for a major hurricane. This incipient disturbance can be tracked back to September 8th when a week 2 upper tropospheric low developed over the eastern Atlantic Ocean west-southwest of the Canary Islands. Wow, it actually moved west. A piece of the system moved westward across the Atlantic over a week and amplified into a more significant mid to upper level low over the central Atlantic northeast of the Leeward Islands on September 19th. This feature continued to move westward for several more days, gradually acquired more vertical depth, with a stronger perturbation forming in the lower troposphere late on September 25th. Satellite images indicated that a small but well-defined surface low developed by 1800 UTC, September 26, about 355 nautical miles southeast of San Salvador Island in the central Bahamas. This low was displaced to the northwest of a small area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms for another day or so, but deep convection developed close enough to the center for the low to be designated as a tropical depression at midnight UTC September 28th. Universal Coordinated Time. About 360 miles northeast of San Salvador. The best track chart of the tropical cyclone path is given figure 1. Figure 1. All right. Despite the very cold cloud top scene, Joaquin did not have a clear eye typical of Category 4 hurricanes. Joaquin made landfall as a major hurricane on several islands of the Bahamas on October 1st and 2nd. First on Samana Cay at 1200 at midday UTC on October 1st, and then Rum Cay at 1600 Universal Coordinated Time on October 2nd, and San Salvador at 2100 Universal Coordinated Time on October 2nd. In addition, Joaquin's eye wall moved over Crooked Island, Long Cay, and Long Island. Even though it weakened slightly on October 2nd, Joaquin was a major hurricane the entire time that it moved through the southeastern and central Bahamas, and was the strongest October hurricane known to have affected the Bahamas since 1866. Although the records by October 3rd, the deep layer low over the eastern United States and a second mid-level had completely dissolved the mid-Atlantic ridge, causing the hurricane to accelerate northeastward away from the Bahamas. At the same time, Joaquin re-intensified with an Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft, indicating that the hurricane reached a peak intensity of 135 knots, just shy of Category 5 strength. However, soon thereafter, increasing shear eroded the western eye wall, and Joaquin lost its status as a major hurricane by midday Universal Coordinated Time on October 4th. Yep. But here's the thing, Joaquin was supposed to actually come into North Carolina. Yep, Joaquin was supposed to do this. But no, but remember it eroded the high pressure system? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, things are looking really scary now. See how it's moving northeastward right here? And it starts turning north. Let's look at the regions, right? Continental United States. See, there's an upper level low here, so this will pivot the storm westward. This is looking at the Canadian, right? Earlier they're saying it was going to go out to sea, but now the Canadian is going into Massachusetts. And then into New England. Like, wow. You see this now, right? Wasn't showing that earlier at all. Yeah, things are trending west again. This ain't looking good, guys. This ain't looking good. Yep, look at that. Back. Everything's coming ashore now. This is really scary. Look at this. This is just absolutely nuts. Absolutely freaking nuts. Everything is coming ashore now. Yep. Jeez. European ensembles. Lower dynamics. Yeah, see, it looks like it's going to hit us. It's pretty darn sure. Let's look at the, yeah, this is European GEFS. Okay, further west now. This is the Canadian ensembles. HWRF. New models just started going up. I think they should really actually investigate the system. I mean, look at this. Again, more convection. See right here. Another blow up of convection. I mean, the system is really trying to get its act together. It's really trying hard. Okay, I'm going to be back in 2 minutes. I just got to go for a second. Let me play the satellite loop, and I'll be back like in 2 minutes. Okay, I'm back. So as you can see, there is a lot of convection that is starting to build up around the storm right now. So it's mostly on the east side. However, it's now starting to build on the south side as well. It's trying to build on the north. Once you get the storm fully enclosed, once it's fully enclosed, the convection, that's when you're going to start to have winds rapidly intensify. The storm, the pressures drop. However, at this moment, it doesn't look to be extremely organized yet. Plus, this model is not really showing much intensification until around like 2 days from now. See, this is when it starts really intensifying. See, it's about 73 degrees west here. Radar. So see, showing some heavy rain. About hour 48. The Canadian. Okay, let's look at the okay. All right, let's look at HRRR or even the RAP, right? Okay, this doesn't make any sense either. Okay, it's showing the storm completely falling apart. Most likely we'll be dealing with a major hurricane at this point. Right here, see? Now I want to look at, yeah, visible shortwave. This is what I really want to look at. So you're having north winds here, right here. See, you're having winds coming out of the north. See, there's a northward shear. See, the shear's coming this way. So this is about where the center of circulation is. Based on what I'm seeing, I would say the center of circulation is somewhere in this area, right about here. And that is where you're having a lot of that convection, basically. So there's a lot of convection here. See, there's this whole area of convection, basically all the way from 70 degrees west all the way to about 68. So there's a pretty good core of convection, especially with the shear here now. Jeez. 949 millibars. Okay, this looks definitely possible. Chemimeter wins. And 71 degrees west. Eight. Jesus Christ, look at that. Yikes. Okay, let's go to WABC right now. Wow, look at that. Mach E. Of course, this car is going to start about $40,000. As low as $35,000? Wow, not bad. I really like this car. GT. 305-mile range. Not bad. Depends on Henri. Rough surf.
You've been eating the delicious sandwiches from Jimmy's John's?
They got summer wraps. They're new. This one's chicken Caesar. Got croutons too, boss.
Freaking Jimmy's John's!
New summer wraps.
Turning to AccuWeather, David Chade, and just look at this picture. It's just so soupy outside. You make out the Chrysler Building, but it's so humid out there. 79, dew point at 73, a southeasterly wind about 7. You know, that wind coming off the Atlantic may be helping to weaken some of the thunderstorms that are coming out of Pennsylvania, but we're getting some heavy rain now, finally pivoting into western New Jersey. There's some lighter rain that's starting to flare up over Bergen County and Essex County and in New York City. Little downpour there moving from Rockland into Orange County, but by far the heaviest rain is coming out of eastern Pennsylvania. See these little green areas? There's some twisting of the winds there. That's headed into parts of Warren and Hunterdon County. There's still that isolated threat of a spin up during the overnight. Make sure your alerts are on your mobile devices. We're going to monitor it hour by hour as we bridge into our morning show tomorrow with Brittany Bell. Meanwhile, we look at the showers and storms tonight. What's going to happen is the heavy rain consolidates over the Poconos, Catskills, and Hudson Valley, and we'll see more cells, some thunderstorms here, New York City, down the shore, kind of scattered about right through the overnight. And a few of these could still contain some brief downpours, some gusty winds as we go through the overnight, and then that'll pivot out right around daybreak. So at least this is moving out quickly. Clouds will be slow to break, but at least we'll start to dry out in terms of showers in the morning hours. It can brighten at times during the day tomorrow. It's going to be really warm and very muggy, mid-80s, then could just be a spot shower during the afternoon hours. See a couple inches of rain over our far northern suburbs, and it'll taper to lighter amounts of the coast, but all it would take would be a downpour to get a little sampling like this, a little over 3/4 of an inch of rain in Central Park. Maybe not exactly that, but again, you get the idea. It could be scattered about in this area where we're just seeing more scattered storms rather than the widespread rains. All right, over to Grace here. Category 1 hurricane closing in the Yucatan Peninsula. It's going to make landfall in the morning not far from Tulum. There's Cozumel right there. It's south of Cancun. Then it'll go back into the Bay of Campeche, southwestern Gulf, and another landfall here Friday night along the Mexican coast. All right, Henri, you've heard a lot about this one. Still a tropical storm, getting a little shear right now, likely to become a hurricane on Friday, then take a sharp northerly turn. If you were with us earlier, the cone here was all the way back into New York City. Hurricane Center has shifted it east, only including the east end of Long Island. Still close for comfort, but if it's going to impact land directly, it would be more like southeastern New England as we go through the weekend. You see that timeline right around Sunday evening. So I think the worst of Henri, eastern New England, as we go through the weekend. You see that timeline right around Sunday evening. So I think the worst of Henri likely stays offshore. It's still a ways to go with the track, and we have to watch it, but that would be the trend. Dangerous rip currents, high surf and beach erosion, that's certainly a possibility. And then tropical force wind gusts of 39 miles per hour, that could be felt at the coast, especially on the eastern end of Long Island. We'll be watching it. Mostly cloudy, warm and sticky at 7 in the morning. Most of the showers have moved well north and east of New York City. We're at 76. We'll be really warm tomorrow. Clouds dominate, few breaks of sun, warm and humid, just a spot shower during the afternoon hours. Warm and muggy, and again, mostly cloudy tomorrow night. So here's your 7-day. Friday's not bad. Clouds, a little sun, mid-80s. Just a spot storm in the afternoon, especially south. Rough surf through the weekend. This is all going to be dependent on the track of Henri. I do think each day there'll be the threat of a couple showers and thunderstorms. That instability may linger into Monday, but I think we're improving into early next week with temperatures in the mid-80s. Again, Brittany Bell will have an update in the morning. We're going to watch this during the overnight. If any warnings come up, we'll crawl them at the bottom of your screen or send out a push alert to you. Be safe overnight. David Chade, we'll see you tomorrow.
You've been eating the delicious sandwiches from Jimmy's John's?
They got summer wraps. They're new. This one's chicken Caesar. Got croutons too, boss.
Freaking. Get Jimmy's John's!
New summer wraps. President Biden standing behind his decision in handling the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, saying he saw no other way than the chaos that is happening. The president sitting down exclusively with ABC News chief anchor George Stephanopoulos. The president vowing U.S. troops will remain on the ground in Afghanistan for as long as it takes to get Americans out. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan.
American troops control the airport and nothing else. The Taliban now control the city and all the access roads from Kabul to the airport and the freedom it represents. Today, children snuck in through gaps in the perimeter wall. Women were helped over the wall. The Taliban is exactly as you remember.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
It was just weeks ago the president was saying a takeover by the Taliban was unlikely at all after the U.S. left.
You didn't put a timeline out when you said it was highly unlikely. You just said flat out it's highly unlikely the Taliban would take over.
Yeah. Well, the question was whether or not the idea that the Taliban would take over was premised on the notion that somehow the 300,000 troops we had trained and equipped was going to just collapse. They were going to give up. I don't think anybody anticipated that.
But the Taliban was so clearly going to take over after the U.S. troops departed, the United States was already negotiating with them. Now the job is to get Americans and the Afghans who helped them out of danger. The president says he will.
And are you committed to making sure that the troops stay until every American who wants to be out is out?
Yes.
How about our Afghan allies? Does the commitment hold for them as well?
The commitment holds to get everyone out that, in fact, we can get out and everyone should come out. And that's the objective.
The president did not commit to getting all the Afghan citizens who helped Americans out.
Just pulling out and not protecting them or putting any protection in for them, we basically broke that promise.
James DeVere served with U.S. forces in Afghanistan. As bad as it looks there now, he's hopeful the future will be better for Afghanistan if the people want it.
We're not really going to know how this all ends probably for another 10 or 15 years. But hopefully, to your point, a lot of people lived the past 20 years with a little bit more freedoms, and they're going to figure out how to fight back and get their country.
Mr. DeVere says he doesn't object to American troops leaving Afghanistan, but he says someone has to be held to account for the chaos and the fact that so many Americans...
That's not important for me yet. You know what? Thanks. Let's watch this video. I like Doug DeMuro a lot. Oh.
Right now, during the Make This the Summer event, get this month's exclusive offers.
This is Doug DeMuro, and today I'm going to talk about one of my very favorite subjects, and that would be weird cars. I love weird cars, and a lot of people these days are saying that weird cars are kind of dying off, that automakers aren't making... Before I get started, be sure to check out Cars and Cars on sale new today. Before I get started, be sure to check out Cars and Bids, which is my enthusiast car auction website for cool cars from the modern era. We've had some great sales recently on Cars and Bids, including this crazy Freightliner truck thing, which sold for $85,000. We love the weird stuff on Cars and Bids. This Geo Tracker with a Chevy Camaro V6 engine swap sold for over $14,000. We really love the weird stuff. And this fantastic 91 Nissan 300ZX Turbo sold for $35,000. Good money for a great car. If you're looking to sell your cool enthusiast car from the modern era, the 1980s and up, Cars and Bids is the place to do it. We'll get your auction listed quickly and get your car sold. And if you're looking to buy a cool car from the modern era, Cars and Bids has a great selection of daily auctions at carsandbids.com. Okay, so weird cars. So back in the day, there were a lot of weird cars. I can name a million. The Dodge Dakota convertible, that Chevy HHR SS high-performance panel van that I reviewed. The Subaru Brat was insane. There's so many. There were tons and tons and tons. I mean, you could name a zillion. But there's this perception that weird cars are dying off, that manufacturers aren't taking as many risks. And frankly, I think that's not true at all. So I'm going to go through the list. The weirdest new cars on sale today, the weird cars that you can buy new. I'm going to go in alphabetical order, proving that yes, there are a lot of weird cars still on the market. For those of you who love the quirky and strange vehicles. Okay, number one, first weird car, the BMW i3. Now, this is probably the least weird of the weird cars on this list, but I think that's only because we've gotten used to them. These have been around for like 8 years, and so it's not as like, oh wow. But when you think about it, this thing is nuts. It looks like a pod. It has rear opening back doors. The interior materials are bizarre. The tires are like 3 inches thick. Wide. The car is made of carbon fiber, and yet despite that, used ones are like 10 grand. You get a carbon tub for like 10 grand. It is a really, really strange vehicle when you really think about it. And sitting in it, I mean, it's got all this headroom. It's like you're sitting in an egg. It makes no sense. It's a bizarre vehicle, and I think that that's a really weird car that nobody really talks about as being weird, but it is really, really weird. Okay, next weird car on my list, that would be the Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat. In case you haven't been paying attention, Dodge has recently started making a Hellcat version of its Durango SUV. Now, they've been making Hellcat versions of all their cars. You have the Challenger Hellcat, the Charger, all that stuff. Obviously, they put it in the Jeep as well. But the Durango is especially weird because it's a 3-row family SUV with over 700 horsepower. Now, I've only seen like 1 or 2 of these on the street. They're not going to be common. It's very expensive for a Dodge Durango, even with all that power. Nobody needs that much power. And I think combining a 3-row SUV with 700 plus horsepower is just bizarre. And I think years in the future, when cars become more plug-in hybrid, more electric, more turbocharged, we're going to look back at this thing and be like, that happened? So it was real? But indeed it is. Okay, next weird car, the Hyundai Santa Cruz. This is a little pickup truck crossover thing. I'm either about to review it or I just reviewed it, depending on when this video goes up. But it's like a little pickup truck based on the Hyundai Tucson crossover, and it's really a strange thing. Like, the top version has a turbo 4-cylinder with like almost 300 horsepower in like a little car-based truck that has a truck bed, and it's made by Hyundai. Like, the whole concept of it is strange. And the small pickup segment clearly appears to be kind of making some level of comeback with the new Ford Maverick. But what I think sincerely is this isn't going to sell. This is going to be like the Subaru Baja in terms of popularity, and it's going to die after 1 generation, and it's really not going to get a lot of sales. And I think it's just really, really strange that it even exists, frankly. And right now it's like a new car, so people are kind of excited about it. There's a little hype around it. It's like, what's gonna happen? I'll tell you what's gonna happen. It's gonna go down in history as being really strange. This is the Subaru Baja of the 2020s. It's really a weird car. Okay, next up, here's a weird car that most people don't even know exists. You can buy a brand new Jeep Wrangler with right-hand drive from Jeep. You can do this today. You can go to Jeep and order a right-hand drive Jeep Wrangler. They make these primarily for rural postal service workers. They sit on the right side of the car so they can just lean out the window and deliver mail. And they want a Jeep because in these rural areas where you're driving like a mile between mailboxes, usually those are like the snowy areas of the country or the wet, there's a lot of rain, there's a lot of whatever. And so the Jeeps are the vehicles that they want. And so mail carriers in rural areas will frequently be using these Jeeps. And you can buy them new. You don't have to be a postal worker to go buy it. If you want a right-hand drive Jeep Wrangler, you can go and purchase one new today. It's insane. Now, obviously nobody does this because it's incredibly annoying to drive right-hand drive in a left-hand drive country and vice versa, but it is possible. They're primarily meant for and purchased by these postal carriers, but it exists. A brand new right-hand drive Jeep Wrangler. That is a weird car that you can buy new. Okay, next up, here's a very weird car that you can buy new that nobody's really thinking of as a weird car, but it is. That would be the new Land Rover Defender 90 with the V8. Okay, the regular Defender with the 4 doors is not weird at all. It's like a normal 4-door SUV, off-road table, whatever. Then they're going to do a V8 version. That's pretty cool. That's like a performance SUV. That's not also all that weird, but performance SUV getting into the kind of cool, interesting segment. The two-door is weird. There are not a lot of two-door SUVs. Every two-door SUV in history has failed. Eventually, every single SUV offered with two doors eventually failed, without exception. Except the Jeep Wrangler. But even that kind of proves that this is true because 80% of Wrangler sales now are four-door models. Once the four-door became available, people just went there. So nobody really wants two-door SUVs. So it's weird that there is one. It's really weird that there's a two-door V8. This is like a 500 horsepower two-door SUV. So you already have these kind of strange proportions and a rather impractical vehicle that not that many people are going to buy. And now there's a performance version of it. It's a crazy thing when you really think about it. You can get like a high-performance Land Rover Defender coupe, essentially. Absolutely a bizarre vehicle. I suspect they're going to sell almost none of them, but this will go down as a weird, unusual car from this era. Okay, next up, another weird new car. The Mazda MX-30. Now this isn't on sale yet, but it's about to be, and what it is like a compact hybrid crossover, which doesn't sound weird until you look at it, and well, look at it. It's absolutely bizarre. It has this sort of coupe-like design, like the old Mini Paceman, which by the way was a weird car in itself, but then it has like rear opening, rear hinged back doors, which is obviously unusual, and then it has some other strange things like sort of squared wheel arches, and it's definitely an unusual and interesting and rather odd vehicle. This sort of has kind of Toyota FJ Cruiser vibes in terms of like the squared off wheel arches and the kind of upright blocky sides, and obviously those rear hinged doors. But then it's a Mazda crossover with a hybrid powertrain. I don't have any idea if this thing is going to sell. I guess it's already on sale in some markets, like in China or maybe Japan. It's weird. It's really, really weird. And I strongly suspect that this is going to be a big flop and it's going to go down as one of those cars they only made a couple thousand of, and we look back in 10 years being like, what was that about? It's really a strange car. You'd think if Mazda wanted to finally go to like a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, whatever powertrain, they would do it with a relatively popular common car already, like the Mazda CX-5. But instead they're giving us this really strange thing. I'm very excited to review this rather bizarre car. Okay, next up, another car that people don't really think of as weird until you really stop and think about it. That would be the Mercedes-Benz Mercedes-AMG GLA 45. What this is a subcompact crossover, and it's a front-wheel drive car in its normal form, and then you can get it with all-wheel drive. And it's like a tiny little crossover, like the size of like a Mini Countryman. I think it's even smaller than that. Like it's a little subcompact crossover. And then they, for some reason, do an AMG version with almost 400 horsepower. It makes no sense. Mercedes just feels like they have to AMGify every car in their lineup, which I can get behind. But this is just weird. And it's like, basically it's like a tall, hot hatchback with 400 horsepower for Mercedes-Benz. And the regular version is pretty much only sold to people, like the GLA 250, is pretty much only sold to people who like want a Mercedes crossover and they're like really stretching with their budget. And so they like lease one and there's a deal or whatever, and it kind of gets them into the Mercedes-Benz family. The AMG version is expensive. It's like 60 grand. I don't know who buys it. But it's like a 400 horsepower, tiny front-wheel drive-based crossover. And we're now in the second generation of this car. The first gen didn't sell all that well, although they did do a version with a massive rear wing, which made no sense. But they brought it back. The GLA sells pretty well, but the AMG version was kind of a dud. But here it is. It's available again. Now, BMW, interestingly, BMW and Mercedes are locked in this like death match to outsell each other. And BMW also sells little crossovers in this space, the X1 and the X2, but they don't have M versions of them because they're rational. Mercedes, for some reason, is a 400 horsepower GLA. It's bizarre. It really is a weird car that you're probably not thinking about. Okay, next up. This next one is a weird car that I just love in principle, and that would be the new Subaru Outback Wilderness. And what this is a Subaru Outback that's given more ground clearance and more like SUV capability and styling cues. And I find this to be funny because the Outback originated as a station wagon that was supposed to be like a car-like alternative to an SUV. So if you wanted an SUV, but you didn't want like the height and sort of that kind of above everything, look and feel, you want something a little bit more car-like and simple, well, there was the Outback. And over the years, they've raised the Outback to the point where now it's taller than a lot of SUVs. Well, now there's an even more SUV-ish version, and it's just insane when you think about the genesis of this. Like, this was a car that was an SUV alternative that has grown into an SUV, and now there's an SUV version of it. It doesn't make any sense at all. And by the way, I think it's ugly, like wildly ugly. Almost to the point where it's kind of cool. Like, they really did that? You look at it and you're like, huh, like the G-Wagon convertible. It's ugly to the point where you're like, okay, that's interesting. But I can't believe that they manufactured this vehicle as like a SUV version of a wagon that was an alternative to an SUV that became an SUV. It's so weird, but it exists. Okay, next up, here's another very weird car that's on...
It's time to look at the European now. Alrighty. Alright. Let's look at the European now. Oh, boom. Not good, not good. Guys, it's blowing up. So, okay, let's look at this. Nope, wrong one. Shortwave. This is what I want to look at. Wait. Yeah, looks like the center is somewhere in this area here. It is partly exposed, I have to say. We seriously need some missions into Henri. Like, where are the damn missions into Henri? Like, we need missions into this system. Okay, now I guess we can look at the European model. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Weakening when it's actually... Yeah, the European doesn't do well with strength. Oh no. Guys? Okay, now strengthening again. Let's look at that. Hold on. Now it's going back to the northeast. Upper aerodynamics, 500 millibar anomalies. You know what? I'm going to share the stream one more time, just to make sure everyone is watching. Okay, Discord. I'm going to go back to Discord. Nope. Make sure everyone's watching. Close. Okay. So we have one person watching right now. I mean, this looks like the circulation is trying to reform, but I'm not very sure. Media. Oh. Okay, here we go now. Let's go back to aircraft recon. No, there's got to be missions into Grace. There has to be missions into Grace. But there is. I mean, Henri. There has to be. Lower dynamics. What? Out to sea? No! Ah, damn it. Well, European is almost always right, so it looks like this is what's going to happen. Well, this is it. Since the European is forecasting this, it's suffice to say that it's going to go out to sea now. Yeah. For aerodynamics. Yeah, but this doesn't make any sense. Like, you have a blocking high right here, see? You have this negatively inverted trough. It only makes sense. I'm covering where this storm is with my hand, right? And instead I'm going to be looking at the surface. Yikes, this is... Oh, now it's going north. So it could still actually be doing that left-hand turn thing. Oh my god. Holy crap. Guys, we have to look at the... Yikes. I'm gonna guess like 960 something. Yeah, 962. 985 millibars. Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, looks like Massachusetts could get a pretty strong system. Jesus Christ. European high resolution. And of course, yeah, this is going to be a strong hurricane, basically. It's still raining outside, but it's light. Yeah, this is not looking good. I'm going to go to bed around 3 o'clock. So I'm going to continue to live stream until 3. What's going on is you're having an area of very strong convection developing. Let's look at the short wave. Because I want to see where the winds are rotating, right? Okay. So there's a chance that the low could be somewhere in this area or over here. If the low is under this area of convection, then the storm is going to intensify pretty quickly. But if the low is here, displaced, then you're not really going to have any rapid intensification until the low can find its center right under those thunderstorms and stay under those thunderstorms. The thing is, the storms are forming and then they're collapsing. They're forming and then they're collapsing. And the thing is, I can't really find the low level circulation. The wind's already going southwest here, which means your center of circulation is going to be somewhere in this area here. Could be here, could be over here. But that's the problem. I cannot really find the low level circulation. Yeah, that's the problem. I cannot find the low-level circulation. And no, that is not an eye forming. Even though it looks like it's an eye, it is not the formation of an eye. I mean, if it were the formation of an eye, that's not good. That is bad. I mean, the thing is this... Okay, so I'm gonna go to tropical tidbits right now. I'm gonna give it about a 5% chance that's an actual eye forming. And more likely that is just I'm gonna create a GIF. I'm going to create a GIF right now. GIF or GIF. Okay. Download. I'm going to go to Twitter. I'm going to tweet this right now. So right now, I don't think that's an eye forming. I know it looks like it's an eye, and it looks like it could be an eye, but the thing is, it just formed. Like the area of convection just formed. It could just be like an area of where convection is being shredded apart. Not shredded apart, but an area of less convection. That's all it could be. Let's look at a different model, all right? See, the convection is already weakening, see? See, the convection is weakening already. That could just be an area where there's less cold cloud tops. I mean, there's a tiny chance that could be, an eye trying to form, but at the moment, I don't think that's an eye trying to form. I think that's just cold, basically, where the cloud tops are less cold. See, right here. Okay. You see there's other areas like that? That is not the formation of an eye. It's not. I mean, the center of circulation could be here for all I know. I mean, if the center of circulation were to be here, that is going to be of great concern. But here's the problem. There's no aircraft going into the system. I don't see anything going into Henri. Everything is going into Grace. I think they need to do some flights into Henri. Like, I think they will need to do flights from North Carolina and go into Henri. They are going to have to. I mean, they should be stationed at Bermuda. Like, Bermuda's really close. This is looking very concerning right now. I mean, there's a possibility that an eye could be forming. A small possibility, but could be an eye trying to form. But keep in mind that this convection formed in the last hour or so, basically. See, see, this convection literally formed in the last hour. Every 5 minutes they update it, basically. So the last update will probably be in a couple more minutes, right? Keep in mind, this is when the first boom started happening. See, boom, 5:17. So it's only an hour after the convection started to form. You see, most of the convection is centered right here. See where my arrow is? That's where the convection actually began to form. It's the circulation is this area of highest convection is here. Why is most of the convection centered here? It was always kind of centered in that area. See, it started forming here. It does look like a little eye-like feature there, but I mean, this could be because the shear is weakening, as I mentioned. Look at the outflow. See, you're having healthy outflow. But the thing is, it's kind of lopsided because you're having a lot of shear coming in from the north. See this right here? You do not want to see this usually. But see how it's going like this, right? Once it gets further west, your wind shear will weaken. Okay. I mean, they do have this storm going into Boston. Okay, so this is Sunday night, right? This is Sunday afternoon. So you're going to have a strong tropical storm off the coast, maybe a hurricane. Let's say it's going to be a hurricane, right? Let's look at the Canadian now. Based on what I'm seeing here, this model almost always underdoes the strength. I'm going to guess maybe Cat 1, Cat 2 at this time, Cat 3. Cat 2, Category 1. So yeah, it's going to be a hell of a storm for southeastern New England. So this is 12Z. I'll be coming in right around this time, right when the rain should just be starting. And I'll probably take a train to southeastern Massachusetts. And so landfall should be occurring right around this time. So I should then probably head back. All right, let's look again at the infrared loop. Yep. See, oh, there's an area of clear air there, right there, perfect. It is kind of lopsided at the moment. But the reason it's so lopsided is because of this northerly shear. But see, you're not seeing the fanning out on the north side. You're seeing it on the south side. So you're seeing some of the fanning out on the north and east side and on the south side, but you're not seeing it on the west side. I'm not seeing a lot of outflow, actually. This isn't good, because the thing is, why you're not seeing a lot of outflow is because you're having very strong winds aloft, right? So it's probably going to remain lopsided for a while, to be honest with you. I mean, but it's still holding pretty good strength. I mean, despite being lopsided, the shear will weaken, and the storm will continue to intensify. Oh. Okay, let's look at the shear again. It's not a lot of storms on the north side, honestly. But a lot of the storms are in the south. So you are having some outflow. You are, but it's not symmetrical. It's asymmetrical outflow. The outflow is asymmetrical because the thing is, you're having strong winds coming like this, right? Actually, right there. The little blow up of convection there. See, as I said, not an eye trying to form. Just an area with less convection. So basically, this is just the remnants of the convection that was here, that blew up, right? Boom. I mean, if this could continue to build up and build up and build up, you could get an eye that would form, an eye-like feature. And if it could maintain itself, because keep in mind, this is pretty far south. This is around 29.5 degrees north. So 29 would run right here. So this is like 29.5 degrees north. Keep in mind, Bermuda is here. So this is well south of Bermuda now. But it's moving west. This is the same latitude as just off of Massachusetts. So it's going to continue moving west for the next 24 to 36 hours. I'm going to go to bed around 3:30. The model I trust most, I think, is the Icon model. It's very accurate in terms of the way it's going to go, but not the strength. Regions, Northeast US. See, I don't think it's going to go that fast, though. Canadian has landfall Sunday afternoon. The European Henri, lower dynamics. Right over Nantucket. Look at that. Boom. It's Martha's Vineyard, that's Nantucket. So basically, that's one model, right? And then lingers over Cape Cod for a bit and then heads out to sea. So this is a tropical storm here, a weak tropical storm. So again, strong tropical storm at this time. Maybe a minimal hurricane, but yeah, strong tropical storm. Yeah, here you're having a minimal hurricane, basically coming up north. Yeah, Jim. Yeah, the UK Met is very scary. Like, I've looked at the UK Met, and I just have to say that I am terrified by what it shows. It literally shows a worst case scenario. Yeah, this doesn't look as bad. And then looking at last night. And they go right into Connecticut and then New England. Yeah, this is basically going to be a giant windstorm. And these are sustained winds. So this is a hurricane, a Category 1 hurricane, maybe even a Category 2 hurricane coming into New England. Yeah. Total QPF. Yeah, that is a lot of rain, basically. Boom. 6 inches of rain. 8 inches of rain. Yikes. Oh, look. The convection just evaporated. See? You see what I just realized? Not an eye. In 30 minutes I'm going to be going to bed, guys. So that is not the eye of the storm. So let me just continue watching the video I was watching earlier.
Sale today that you don't see, so you don't really think about it, but it is weird. And that would be the TRD versions, the Toyota Camry and specifically the Toyota Avalon. I saw an Avalon TRD on the road yesterday for probably the first time ever. And I was just blown away by this. I reviewed one like 18 months ago. I haven't seen one until now. It's like a $60,000+ Toyota Avalon with a giant front grille and all these like sporty ground effects and red stitching to make it look cool. But at the end of the day, it's an Avalon and they didn't add any more power. So it's not any faster. It just like maybe handles a little better and it looks ridiculous. And I think these cars are going to go down as like, what was Toyota even dreaming up when they created these vehicles? Like such a bizarre and unusual car to make a high-performance version of the car that is probably the least high-performance-y of any car on the market today. That would be the Toyota Avalon, in my opinion. It's like the Buick of the Toyota lineup. And they're like, yeah, let's lower it and give it wheels and like a ground effects kit. Bizarre, absolutely crazy. There are ways to make your automaker seem more sporty and fun, and throwing a ground effects kit on random cars that nobody wants, that's not the way to do it. Okay, next up, down to the last two weirdest cars on sale today. One of them is the Volkswagen Arteon. So when I was younger, Volkswagen had this plan that they were going to be a luxury brand and that Audi was also going to be a luxury brand and that somehow that would work. And of course, what ended up happening was what everybody predicted would happen, which is that Audi became a luxury brand and Volkswagen is positioning itself in the mainstream. And that has actually worked relatively well. Down to the last two weirdest cars on sale today. One of them is the Volkswagen Arteon. So when I was younger, Volkswagen had this plan that they were going to be a luxury brand and that Audi was also going to be a luxury brand and that somehow that would work. And of course, what ended up happening was what everybody predicted would happen, which is that Audi became a luxury brand and Volkswagen is positioning itself in the mainstream. And that has actually worked relatively well for Volkswagen. They've done pretty well with the Atlas crossover. The Jetta still does well. The Tiguan obviously does very well as a small SUV. They now have a new smaller SUV called the Taos. They're finally starting to figure out the American market, except for some reason they still sell the Arteon here, which is like a $45,000 coupe sedan that is like intended to compete with BMW and Mercedes, except it's a Volkswagen. And 10 years ago, that was already a tough sell when the Volkswagen CC came out, but back then Volkswagen had a little bit more premium brand positioning. These days, Volkswagen's brand positioning is now like clearly mainstream. Nobody thinks that brand is like desirably luxurious anymore. It's no longer like the cool, luxurious alternative to Honda and Toyota. It just kind of feels like Honda and Toyota. So why they think they can sell like a $50,000 luxury coupe sedan is beyond me. And of course, the truth is they can't sell them. I've seen maybe 6 since that thing went on sale like 3 years ago. It's way too expensive. That will be a desirable used car. I suspect it loses value fast and definitely looks good. But it's weird. And that's something that is very strange if you really think about it. And finally, our last interesting and weird car on sale today, the Volvo V90. So station wagons are kind of dead, as everybody knows, but Volvo knows that you can still make money with these like off-roady looking station wagons. There's like a V90 cross country. It's kind of lifted, looks a little like an SUV, but For the die-hard Volvo wagon people who don't want that, you can still get a V90 that doesn't look like the off-roady version. It's just a regular wagon. In the United States, that car is special order only. Meaning every time you see a non-cross-country V90, it was ordered specially by the person who's driving it. They don't stock them at dealers. And this is weird. I mean, to offer like an extra body style, an extra version of a car just for this purpose, they're tremendously rare. They're only purchased by like die-hard wagon enthusiasts who for some reason can't handle a couple inches of ground clearance. And they're really, really strange cars. And I think that is definitely one of the strangest cars in the market. The fact that Volvo decided to do this to keep these kind of Volvo wagon purist weird cars still out there. And frankly, this is just the weird cars that are new. It doesn't even account for some that like just left the market. I was thinking the Cadillac CT6V Blackwing was a weird car. Obviously the Range Rover Evoque convertible is a weird car. The Honda HR-V with a manual transmission was weird. And yes, that did exist, no longer, but it did up until like last year. There are some weird cars out there. They're not dead yet, which is great for me because I love weird cars on the Doug DeMuro YouTube channel.
Yeah. As I expected, storm is being sheared apart at the moment. Yes, this movie is called it's called Gravity. Not Gravity, no, not Gravity. Not Gravity. It's called Interstellar. That's the one.
Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain an adventure, drama, and sci-fi film called Interstellar.
Yeah, I knew it. I seen that movie. That's how I know. It's a pretty cool movie. It's kind of sad. Like the ending is kind of melancholy. It's involving time travel and seeing your daughter grow up and become basically a grandmother because you time travel into a black hole. Went to a black hole and oh yeah, your daughter is now older than you are, like a lot older. Like she's about to die and you're like still basically the same age. Yeah, it's pretty freaking sad. Again, that is not the eye of the storm. I know it kind of looks like it's an eye. This could just be the mid-level circulation, or this could be the surface low trying to take shape here. But the thing is, the thunderstorms aren't like, how to say this, constant. They're like pulsing and then dying, pulsing and dying. Basically, the system is battling some shear and some dry air. That's what's going on right now. And where is the dry air? Like, say the center is here. Like, say it is, right here. But the thing is, the convection isn't stable. It's not like lasting. Plus, there is some shear. Even the area of convection, it looks kind of like a teardrop shape. And then when you look at Grace, when you look at Hurricane Grace, it looks lopsided, but you can actually see the swirl. You can actually make it out. I mean, it's probably going to make landfall as a Cat 1. Maybe, yeah, Cat 1. I don't think it's going to become a Cat 2. Let's go back to satellite imagery. Let's go back to remnants of Fred. Oh, look at that. The storm's headed my way. There's some storms that are forming in New Jersey heading my way. There's, a tornado warning. Wow. Yeah, there's a tornado warning just north of Paterson, New Jersey. There's actually a tornadic cell that is headed my way. So yeah, I'm going to stay awake because there's some really dangerous storms headed my way right now. They may pass to my south, though. Yeah, there's a cell that's just southeast of Trenton. It's right over Florence, New Jersey. It actually has a hook on it. Velocity doesn't show much, but there is some velocity near Tullytown and Florence. Yeah, there's actually a area of rotation that went right over Tullytown. Yeah, and that's the cell that's headed right at my location. So yeah, I better kind of stay awake for this. Let's look at the loop again. Let's look here again. Yeah, see. You know what? I'm going to give it 20 more minutes. No one's watching right now. Okay. SpaghettiModels.com. 80 miles an hour. Could become a cat too. Let's look at Henri. Yeah. Smart move I'm going here because my thought it could end up going a little further east, but if I'm going to be Massachusetts, New York City will get nothing. Well, at least I'll see some stuff. That's why I'm going there. Oh, look at that. One of the models has a major hurricane. Yeah, see, becoming a hurricane Friday morning. What I'm thinking is by 8 p.m. Thursday, she will become a hurricane. I think she may even become a hurricane. Actually, he may actually become a hurricane by Friday afternoon. Not even by the evening, but by Thursday afternoon, he may become a hurricane. And I think he will take this track. Probably going right into Rhode Island. Alrighty. Yeah, it really does look like an eye. I mean, it's not an eye, but I know it kind of looks like one. It's just weird. Still streaming. Looks like I'm going to have to... Okay, I'm going to stop streaming for a second. Actually, no, I'm not going to stop streaming. I'm going to go back to Discord again. Yep. I mean, this could be an eye-like feature developing. But here's the thing. As I said, the convection is weakening now. Like, there's less convection right now. You see this right here? That's a gravity wave going through. Boom, right there. You see that little ripple? That's actually a gravity wave because of this blow-up of convection. That actually means that the storm is starting to tighten up. The air pressure is starting to drop a little bit. But these gravity waves that you're seeing here, that's actually would cause significant turbulence. But this gravity wave that you're seeing, that's a pressure wave. That's basically the pressure's dropping because of this basically little sucker hole that's trying to form right here. Basically, that's an eye that is trying to develop. Yeah, I can basically concur that is an eye trying to form. Will it become successful? I mean, I've seen this happen before in other tropical systems where this, as the convection dies out, it becomes eroded again. So basically, Another chat. Boom. No. Okay, I think we're good now. Let's go back here now. Let's look at infrared. Actually, we do have an eye forming here. Yeah, we actually have an eye forming now. Just great. Yeah, not good. Oops, wrong one. Let's look at here now. Yeah. No one's really watching right now, but we do have an eye forming. I'm gonna be going to bed at like 3:30. I'm gonna keep on watching the satellite imagery. 47. Still 42. Okay. Oh yeah, there's this video I wanted to watch. It's about the Volkswagen Taos. Card literally just came out.
I'm not going to zonk it because pretty much all the competition has the same prop rod. Now, underneath that hook.
With this active park assist, all you do is hold down a single button, and the vehicle does the rest. It's one of the things that I love so much about the Escape.
Hood is going to be something a little bit different from Volkswagen. You're not going to find a 2-liter. It's actually a 1.5-liter inline-4 turbocharged engine, 158 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 7-speed DCT transmission. Remember, that's that dual-clutch transmission. 0 to 60 with our all-wheel drive is around 7.8 seconds. Quarter mile is 16.5 seconds. Top speed is 120 miles an hour. MPGs, you're looking around 25 in the city, 32 on the highway. Now, if we're comparing this to the Mazda CX-30, the standard engine in a Mazda CX-30 is a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter inline-4 that gives you around 186 horsepower, but you can also go turbocharge with the Mazda CX-30, which I highly recommend. That's going to give you, believe it or not, 250 horsepower. So from a performance standpoint, the CX-30 is definitely, when it comes to numbers, the way to go. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what big things are in store in this smaller size
Volkswagen. All right, guys, we're inside the 2022 Volkswagen Taos. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been looking for a smaller SUV. I live in the city.
No. Still only 42. Okay. On upload already. Update. Okay. So basically the convection ended now. Yeah, let me go watch the rest of the video.
I don't need anything big, but I definitely want to maximize my space, and I definitely want to maximize the technology inside the vehicle. Liking the look of this Volkswagen Taos, how much is it? Well, remember, this is an SEL trim, and you got those 19-inch wheels. Wait until you see what you have in here. If you're wondering what's the MSRP, it's $35,440 for this model. Let's see what you get for the money. To the door panels. They did a bang-up job on style. Love the soft touch material up top. You got that metallic gray finish, which is not going to show the fingerprints as bad as regular gloss black. And then you have that lighter gray with the white contrast stitching. Semi-hard on the armrest. Flat black everywhere else. If you're comparing this to the CX-30, I think the CX-30 brings an extra style of luxury to the door panel, but if you're comparing this to, say, the Hyundai Kona, this blows it out of the water. Large door pocket down there for an oversized Annie Ann's pretzel. Get the cinnamon and sugar one. You deserve it. And a bottle of
Still has not updated yet? Okay, you know what? Yeah, it has been 20 minutes and hasn't updated yet. Not good. It could be a little eye trying to form. The European ensembles. Translate. Henri. What? Oh, come on. Are you kidding me right now? Okay, yeah, that's what I should upload to Twitter. Forming an IMAB hashtag hurricane. The 5 a.m. advisory, if this is indeed true. This is not good, as Henri was not forecast to become a hurricane until Friday morning. All right. Mariposa County. Every 2 hours. Wow. Every 6 hours. Three, 4, 5, 2. Yeah, it's looking further and further east and west. Yeah, not good. 702. Oh no, we got a possibility of a tornado developing now in New Jersey. You have a possible tornadic circulation developing near New Brunswick, New Jersey. Looking at correlation coefficient. Oh no, we have debris. We actually have debris right now in the air. Yeah, we have debris. Yep. We have a possible tornado on the ground at the present moment. Where is that damn tornado warning when you need one? Oh crap. Yeah, that is definitely a tornadic storm. I have never ever, like, God. That is one of the most, like, telltale signs of a hook echo. You know what? I'm going to go to Facebook right now because we have a developing situation. Yep, look at that. Yep, you have a hook right now developing. Still no tornado warning. Yep, finally, they just issued a tornado warning. They just issued a tornado warning. Oh, radar indicated rotation. They finally issued that damn warning. Like, I've been thinking, where am I going to issue that warning for like the past 30 minutes? About damn time they issued that damn warning. About damn time they issued that warning. They literally issued the warning at 3:09. And you know what I said when there's that damn tour? I said it at 3:10. About damn time. The tornado warning was issued at 3:09 p.m. Yeah, the tornado warning. Doesn't look very much like a tornado. We have some possible debris with this, actually. There was probably a small tornado that touched down with this. There has to be. Unfortunately, this ain't coming my way. It's going towards, like, southern New York City. Yeah, see, it's kind of moving northeastward instead of northward. Alright, still... Aircraft reconnaissance. Still no Henri. Satellite imagery, long wave infrared. See, as I said, there's not much convection with the seats falling apart again. See, after the blow up died off, the convection is dying off again. Like, it's not really holding itself together all too well, honestly. Ooh, there's actually some pretty good rotation in the Plainsboro area. Around the Princeton Junction area.
You to wash it down. Now, when you're going from the door panel to the dash, you are going to be getting the Beats sound system. Technically, they're not called Beats by Dr. Dre, but I'm calling them Dr. Dre Beats. Full audio sound system that is optional on the SEL. There's more of that gloss metallic gray finish. Like I said, it doesn't show the fingerprints as bad as standard gloss black. Love the way they brought that light gray in with the stitching all the way across. And then look what we got in the center. Official Twinkies. Volkswagen branded Twinkie tray. So you'll be able to get 5 Twinkies up there, let them get nice and warm in the sun, and then you could have that little piece of gold, brown, and delicious. Now, working your way down, the SEL trim has the optional 8-inch infotainment system. Standard is 6.5, so 8-inch infotainment system, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, navigation, touchscreen capability, very easy to use. This is where it's a little smaller than the CX-30. The CX-30 has an 8.8-inch system, but this has the touchscreen capability that many of you love and many of you want your vehicle to have. There's your AC controls. Very intuitive. You could go into your car settings, get all the different information that you need, go into an off-road screen configuration because this does have that 4-motion all-wheel drive. Nice touches like that. And the graphics, the fonts, everything is super clear. Working your, backup camera. Almost forgot. Throw it into reverse. Super clear on the resolution. They did a bang-up job. I think it's even more clear than the Mazda CX-30. And if you're comparing this to the Seltos or the Kona or the Trailblazer, also very, very clear. Now, working your way down, you got your AC vents. We got dual climate control, heated seats, and ventilated seats. Thank you, Volkswagen. A little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy. You're going to have wireless charging, 2 USB-Cs, and a 12-volt. Just make sure you don't stick your Twinkie in there. This is going to control that 7-speed DSG. That's a dual clutch transmission. I do like the silver start-stop button, a little bit more of that metallic gray finish. And then you do have some dev buttons here. 4 dev buttons, which I'm not, actually 5. I'm not sure why on the top SEL trim, so we are going to zonk those dev buttons. You have your mode selector switch, easy to go through, and if you look on the infotainment side of things, you actually get these great graphics. So we could go into off-road mode, very easy to do, and all changeable on the fly. Look at that snow. I'm starting to get cold in here, even though it's 90 degrees. But working our way back, you do have 2 cup holders. I like the way they went flat black here. Keep that part simple. We have the auxiliary Twinkie tray holder there. Here's your key fob. Nothing really to write home about, but it does have the Volkswagen logo, remote start, which is a nice touch, and you can pop the hatch from the back. On the side, they give you a Twinkie cargo net, just in case for those moments when you get a little hangry. I like the material and the stitching on the...
It's just so funny. Okay, okay, let's look at Northwest Atlantic. I think this is the towels.
The armrest, lift, beautiful. I got plenty of leg room over here. It is quite incredible, especially with the flat roof, just how much room you have. And then you can pull down this bad boy, and they give you plenty of armrests. You know, sometimes the way they put these cup holders, it could take away the actual place for your arm to rest. Remember, dial 6781 on your cell phone to report any manufacturer to the armrest police if they don't give you enough armrest room. But the good news is Volkswagen is in the clear. Plenty of room. Plus, look at this. You actually have a pass-through. Hey! So you could have that cooler back there with the snacks, the Doritos, the Lay's, the Ruffles, have some French onion dip. You can use this as a table. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in that cargo area and see just how much space is in this smaller house. All right, guys, time to get in the cargo area. You're going to hit the button right under the Volkswagen badge. It is an electric assist. You're going to have to lift it up yourself. And the great news is, even with the 4Motion all-wheel drive, you're going to get a ton of space. So with the seats up, 27.9 cubic feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? It's time for me to go to bed. I'm going to bed now, guys. Thank you all for watching, and good night.